Welcome back, guys. We last did the compressor disc model, and now we're going to start doing the drawing for this. We probably won't do a full drawing. We just need to prove that this model is okay, and to do that, one of the best things to do is to try and do the actual drawing and try and match some of the dimensions. So that's what we're going to do. I've opened up in the background my border. So the reason why I'm using a border is because the text, section lines, everything is set up correctly in this border. So the text height is correct. It just makes life a bit easier. So let's save this. I'll add the configuration on the end because I'm probably going to save it a couple of times to make sure we don't lose any information. Right, so the only two files I've got open are the model and the drawing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this model into this drawing. Let's go into modeling first. Modeling, assemblies. Let's add this one. Absolute, that's okay. Right, click in the background and go fit. We should see the disc. There we go. So we've got the disc, and now we need to replicate this view of the PDF. Right, so let's go home. Again, these buttons, if you've not got them set up in your home tab, you'll probably find them under application. They're here. I put them under the home tab, so I'm not going to keep changing tabs all the time. Right, just make sure you're aware of what file you're working on. So this is the drawing file that contains the disk model. So any changes I need to do to the disk, I'll do in the disk file itself, not the drawing file. Right, so let's go drafting. Let's come up with a view creation wizard. I don't tend to use that. I tend usually to put the views I want down first. The main problem with this is we need to make sure the very first view we put down, it's incredibly important that we've got the same view as this, and top dead center is here, because the orientation of these slots might be slightly different if I put the view down with this at the top, or that at the top, or this at the top. So it's incredibly important we know this first view goes down correct as per this view. And I'll show you how to do that, and I'll show you what I mean. So let's go base view. Right, so it's got top, which obviously this view is not going to be the top. Let's try front, no, right. So it's either the right or the left. Let's just make that a bit smaller. Right. That's not actually the right view because it's the back, not the front. So what you could do is go on projected view, place that here, yeah, cancel that, select this view and go projected view again, place that down. So now we've got this view, which looks like the PDF view. However, if you look at the top dead center here, this doesn't look quite right. This section here is cut through a certain location, and it's not this location here. It looks like actually it's this location here, and it's wrong here, and it could be this one or it could be this one, but we know this is not the right orientation. So what I tend to do is, to make sure we've got the right orientation, I tend to put the reference set to entire part, and then we know which way round this should be. So let's go here. So we've got the disk drawing, and inside the disk drawing we've got the disk model, and it's on the model reference set. So if I right click on this, replace reference set entire part, if you look now, everything's in the view. So now we can see which way around the coordinate system is, and we know that this end is actually the top because I put a work plane up here and this was the side I was working. So it's actually this view we want at the top. So let's delete this view to start with, and delete this view. If I double click this border, comes up with this box. Let's have a quick look what we got. We've got angle. Let's try and type in 90 in. So that's actually the view we want. If you look, this is the view we created for the actual slot to extrude the slot through. This was to take the back end off, and this was a sketch to take the front end off, and a sketch to take the front end off. So this is the number one slot. So this is the right orientation. And if you look, this is where we've created another sketch to put these holes in here. So I'm sure this is the right way around now. So now I can go back to the disk model, right click on it, and replace the reference set with model. If you don't get this right, all the blow up views and things you do will be wrong, and then you'll pretty much have to start again. Let's just update that view. There you go. Right, so I think what we'll do is we'll try and recreate some of the dimensions and things that are on the PDF onto this view. Right, so let's make it a little bit bigger. It's probably a bit big actually. Let's leave it at 1 to 2. Right, so if you look, the system's put in the center points, but the coordinate system is not quite correct. We want them going around this way with angles coming through, not in this direction. So I could go around and I could highlight them, delete them one by one, but we should be able to delete them all in one go. But to do that, it's probably wise to use a selection filter. I think it's symbol. So if we go symbol, let's see what highlights. Yeah, so these are highlighting with symbol. So now we should be able to highlight all of them in one go and delete them all. Right, so let's go back to symbol and turn that off so we can select other things. Right, so we want to put in some center lines ourselves. So let's start with a big one cut through it. So let's go on this one, center mark. Select that circle, and when I use this last, obviously I've got this set individually on, so if I can extend this end, or this end individually, but in this case I don't want to do that. I want to extend them all the same amount. So that's the first point I'm putting on, and any other center lines that go through, say this hole and this hole, I don't necessarily want to put on this line, otherwise you'll have a line on top of line, and when you go to print it, it'll probably come out a bit darker where you've got a line on top of line. So you're always best not to have line on top of line. Right, so let's put in the PCD to match some of what's in here. Right, so let's select bolt center circle. It's already on center point, so the center point is going to be here, and let's select this hole. So if I select the next hole and it doesn't select properly, it means this hole is not on the same PCD as this hole. So yeah, it should be okay. Just go round now and select all the holes. So that's how we would put in these PCD. I'd miss this one, go to this one. Okay, so that's that PCD. Let's put one or two more in. I'm not going to go around the whole lot. Let's select that again. So on this one, it's on center point. Set the center point, and I think this time I'll select probably this hole. Yeah, I'm not going to go around the whole lot, but you get the idea of how to put them in. and it would be the same on there and same on here, etc. Right, so let's try and have a look at some of the information that's on this disk and try and replicate some of the information. Again, we don't need to go around the whole lot. This is just to show you how to put the information in. Right, so let's put the information in for these holes here. Right, so if you look at the PDF, this is a bit old-fashioned way of doing it. You don't really need to put in the word holes. We could just use 32 by 9.755 and then the tolerance, equispace, then countersink, and then the positional tolerance. It's probably a better way of doing it, so we'll probably do it that way. Right, the important thing here is we want to make sure that this is parametric. So the 9.755 is probably the important bit in this information, and if the hole changes in the model, we want this 9.755 to change. So let's go on where it's got rapid dimension. Let's click on that one. It's on inferred. Let's pick diameter. And it's the inner one we want to pick because the outer one is the countersink. So pick the outer one, place that down for now. Right, so we've got the diameter, that's parametric. If that hole size changes, this will change with it. So let's double click this. I want really the text to come this way now. So if I select in here, let's try that one. There you go. Right, so now the text is going the right way. So that's probably the better way of doing it. If I double click it. And this border that I'm using is using the British standard, the ISO standards for dimensions, which is the comma, not the full stop. Right, so I've got that. Let's click on this little A. And we can put some text in here. So this is selected after, I want to select it to before. And I'm going to say 32, and there's a big times. This is how the ASME is done actually, the 32 big times. If you look on the British Standard ones, there's actually, I think it's a little across and there's a gap, but I tend to prefer this method. I think it's clearer using this method and the times. It doesn't then get confused with, say, a chamfer, 2 by 4 degrees or something. So I think this is a better way of doing it. Right, so we've got that size. Let's put a tolerance on it. So we've got a plus and minus tolerance. So let's click on this one. And in here it is 0.075. So now we've got 32 times the diameter, the tolerance. Then I'd probably put underneath this the equispaced. So let's go back to this A again. Let's go underneath, so below. So I'm going to put the equispace box in here, and the equispaced is in a box, so it's a theoretically exact dimension known as GD&T, geometrical dimension and tolerancing. And in this particular drawing, it will be set to ISO 1101. So we need to put the equispaced in a box. So where it says drafting, we can change it to GD&T. We can start the tolerance control frame, and we can just type in equispaced. Make sure you've got the caps lock on. Equispaced. Right, so I think actually it might make more sense to put the chamfer size before this as well. So let's put the chamfer size in before. So if I hit the return key and go up one, let's put in there countersink CSK countersink. Right, so I should say countersink at 90. So I need to go put the degree symbol in. That should be in drafting. Degree. So counting at 90 degrees. Inclusive. INCL. 2. And space. So we've got diameter symbol in here somewhere, diameter 11 plus or minus 0,2. Right, so that gives us the information we're after. And now we need to put in underneath there a positional tolerance. So let's go to the end of this box here, set the return key, go back to GD&T, start tolerance control frame, and we've got positional tolerance, position, then it should say diameter, because these are holes, positional tolerance should be a diameter, 0,4, because they're through holes, we've probably got max material, and then we've got two datums, /A/B. So that's pretty much the information that I'd put on that hole, I think. 32 by 9.755, counting at 90 degrees inclusive to that, equispaced. Yeah, that's the way I prefer to see that information. That gives us everything we need. Right, so that's how we put in that information on that particular hole. One thing you must try and do when you're doing drawings, you need to make sure that this text and anything you put on the view goes with the drawing border. That way you can move the drawing borders and things around slightly later on to tidy it all up. So always double check now and again by moving the drawing border that the information goes with it. You don't want it to be left behind somewhere. Right, so it looks like this hole we've got datum C. So there's actually a datum symbol here for us. So we've got datum A at the minute. So just type in C, and then I think we can just drag the symbol on the hole like so and place it down. So that would be how we put in datum C. What else have we got? We've got some diameters, so there's a diameter on here. So these holes are controlled with this positional tolerance of 0.4, so we need to make sure we've got a box dimension on this PCD, and that is this one here. So let's put in the same box dimension. So we're on diameter already, so we select this diameter here. Yeah, we can place that down somewhere. So 567.92, so it's the same. Let's double click it. We can spin it around so it's the same way, and in here we can put box dimension. Right, so when I'm doing a drawing, what I try and do is keep the information together. It's always easier to read then. So for example, this diameter goes with this. So the way I would do it, I wouldn't put this information here, over here somewhere, or around here. I would keep this information close to the other bit of information. So when I come to read the drawing then, I know that this goes with this. It just makes it a lot easier to read. Right, so I think on sheet 1 there's just a replication of what we've got here generally. I don't think there's any other special features, so I think that's probably okay for this view. Let's have a quick look on the PDF. Right, so we've got a section view on the PDF we need to create, and it's a section cut through here of the disk. So let's try and do that. Up here we've got a section view, so click that. So I've got the section arrows. I'm going to select the inside diameter, make sure this snaps on. And I'm just going to place the view here. It'll snap when it's in the right place. Right, so that's given me the right view there. And if you look here, where that line goes through, you can tell now that this is matching the same on the PDF, the original. So I know this is the right way around. If we don't get this the right way around, we're going to be struggling later on. And if we look on this section SASA, the drive arm's coming the right way. It's coming this way. So I know this is the right orientation, it's the right view. Right, so what else we got? so there's a little blow up at the bottom. Let's try and put this little blow up, this DU in. So it's got these 3 holes in. Let's just make that a bit bigger so we can see what's going on. So it's this blow up view here with these holes in. Let's do that next. Let's zoom into ours. It looks like I've probably not put all the holes in actually in the model. I think there's a hole missing that's there. Well, yeah, let's try and put this blow up in. Right, so we've got here detail view, and I think I want it around here. Let's make this the center, and wherever I let go is where it's going to attach this DU arrow onto. So if I stop here, it's going to attach it on here, which is where the PDF is. However, it's probably not the best place to attach the arrow, so we probably ought to come around this location somewhere, because it doesn't look particularly good on the drawing at the minute. So if I stop it here, zoom out a bit, let's place the view down here somewhere. Right. Let's double click the border. So it's scale 1 to 1, it's actually the same scale. On our drawing it's a little bit small. Let's just blow it up a fraction so we can see what we're doing. Alright. Let's get rid of, it's not selecting these lines. Let's go in here and go symbol, delete that, that and that. Right, so this is on some sort of PCD. We should be able to put these lines in here. This can get a bit tricky. Let's try another go. Let's take that selection filter off. So we've got a center point. Let's select that point there. And I think it depends on which way around we go. That one, wait a minute, it's got a full circle. That one, and that one. So I'm going this way and it's giving me the full circle still, even though I've unticked the full circle. So let's try that again, but this time I'm going to try and go around this way. Right, so center point, let's pick that, let's pick this one, let's unclick that, this one, and this one. So that's now giving me what I want without giving me the circle going all the way around. So I started on this side, I went this way around. I think if you went this way around, it would always put in the full circle. Yep. Right, so now we should be able to put in these 2.3 degrees. So let's go on angle from there to there, 2.3. Just plonk it out for now. Right. So we know that that's correct. Let's try and put in this text. So it's this outer hole. So we want angular. Let's go back to diameter. This goes down to 7. Down to 7. Right, so again, normally holes are considered through holes, so you wouldn't normally have to put through if the hole's through. It's just taken that the hole's through anyway, as per the British standards. Right, let's put it anyway. Let's copy what we've got. So let's go before. Let's copy that same format we used last time. 48 by down to 7 after through. And again, this is to the British standard, not to the American standard. The American standard would be a U, Let's go underneath, below, countersink at 90 degrees. That's where we want to any gap in there, that's better. Inclusive to diameter 7.7,5 both sides. I think for some reason my text looks a little bit different. I think what they've done is they've lined it up to the right rather than the left, and mine's lined up to the left, so I can change that after the fact. Right, so let's try and change it round so it lines up the other way around. Let's double click this. Let's go on this one, text settings, there we go. So justification at the minute is left, let's turn that to right. Right, again, some standards, when the text is on this side, it's lined up this way. When the text is on that side, it's lined up this way. But I think that's very similar now to what they've done. Let's go back on the text. Underneath, GD&T, start tolerance control frame, positional tolerance, diameter 0.4. Max material /A/B/C. There we go, that's better. That matches a lot better now. So we've proved that the diameter is correct, the angles are correct. Right, so I think for doing sheet 1, the information we've got here is probably good enough. I think what I'll do now is I'll add a couple of sheets to this drawing. Right, so we've got a drawing here. I'll right click on it, insert a sheet, A0, which is what we want, sheet 2, I'll do the same again, insert a sheet, sheet 3, insert a sheet, sheet 4. We can delete the ones we don't want to use later anyway, it's not a big deal. So if you look now, I've got sheet 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. At the minute this is the work one. Let's double click sheet 1. Right, and let's save it. Right, so have a look on what's on sheet 2. Right, so this is one of the main sections where we're taking most of the information, blow-ups and things from. This is a bit more complicated to do with this particular model because what it's doing is it's showing us the full outer surface before the slots are put in. So this drawing, we need to do something more with it to be able to show this view. So it's quite a complicated view to show in any CAD system, this is, because we can't take a section anywhere across the disc because the slots are there now. What we need to do is we need to take a section through the disc before these slots are put in. Yeah. So we need to do some work on the model to be able to do that. And probably what we need to do then is to take a composite section through it. So I'll show you how to do that. There's probably a few ways to do that, but I'll show you what I think is probably one of the better ways of doing it. Right, so I think to start with, I'm going to put a section through here and give me the same as what I've got at this location. So for now, I'm going to hide this. I think. And I'm going to put another section in to start with. Let's hide the SG and the SG. go section through there, there. So what we're actually wanting is the top of this section. So let's just double click this. Let's drag this up here somewhere. Close that and update this view. Right, so this is the view I'm going to turn into this view, and I'm going to drag this to sheet 2. So if I'm highlighting the border here, and it's telling me in my part navigator that it's section SX SJ here. So I'm just going to grab this and drop it on sheet 2. Double click sheet 2. Right, so I've got it here. Let's delete some of these center lines, don't need them. Let's move that out of the way a minute. Let's delete that. Right. Let's make this view a bit bigger. This view is covering most of the page. Actually, it's probably bigger than that. That's better. So that's pretty much the size we're after. Right, so if you notice on this view, all the background information is not here. And what I mean by the background information is all of this. So by default, the system's sectioning what's been cut through, but it's showing what's in the background as well. So all this is background information. So we can turn that off by double clicking the border. Let's go down to section, and it's got here show background. So I'm going to unclick that, apply. That's better. That's showing me more what I'm after now. And here I don't actually want to cross hatch it because I'm going to create I need to create the lines at this location before the slots were put in. So I'm going to have to manually hatch this section. So I don't want the system to hatch it, I'll hatch it later. So it's got create cross hatch. I'm going to untick that and go apply. Right. This is the starting point that we need to get to this solution here. Now, one way I could have done is I could have shown the sketch I used to create all of this in the first place at this location. The problem with just showing the sketch is it won't show the holes, and some of the holes are shown in this view and they're detailed in the view as well. So I can't just show the sketch here. I need to do something extra. Right, so let's just save what we've done. Save as. Let's call it version 2. So let's go back to the model. So we've got disk model. Right, so let's show the coordinate system. Right. And let's show sketch 1 to make sure I'm working on the right place. What I want to do now is I want to create some section curves at top dead center, which is where this section is. It's at top dead center. So I know now top dead center is here. Right, so here's the revolve. So I think what I'm going to do here, I'm going to right click on it. If you look, the system's already gone back to modeling. Generally in NX11 it will change from drafting to modeling when you adjust from a drawing to a model. The earlier versions didn't actually do that and you had to keep flipping, but this version's quite a bit better because it does it a lot more automated. Right, so what I want to do here is I want to go back in time to where this revolve was done. So let's go make current feature. Right, so if you look now, I'm back in time to when this revolve was done. So this revolve's highlighted, but everything underneath it is not highlighted. So anything I do now will go under this revolve. It won't go at the bottom of the tree. Yep. Let's just, I think for now I'm going to hide this sketch. Again, and I'm going to section this. Yeah, so that's what I want it to do. Right, so now I want to add some section curves around here, and I'm going to use the section curves in my drawing view. Right, so if you can't find it, section curves, let's type it in the command finder. There we go, section curve. So let's click section curve. Oh, I'm not sure I did that. Section curve, there we go. Right, so let's select the plane first. Selected plane, so I want it on that plane there. That's my plane. And then the object. The reason I've sectioned it is so I can select round the object that I want. It makes life a lot easier. Otherwise it's very difficult to get into some of these surfaces. So now I can select the surfaces that I want to appear in the drawing. So I'm going to start with this surface. I'm going to work my way around. Right, so that's all the surfaces I want. And we also need to make sure this is going to be associative. The associative is already ticked on, so when I use this last, I've obviously ticked this on. Just make sure this associative's on. So if any of this changes, we want these curves to update, which is what this is doing. Right, so you see here, you've got the curves, section curves, and it's been put in after the revolve. Right, to make these appear in the drawing, what we need to do as well is we need to add these section curves to the model reference set. Otherwise, we won't be able to see them in the drawing. Right, so let's go menu, format, reference sets, model. So if you look now, the solid is highlighted, but the section curve isn't highlighted. So we should be able to select the whole lot here. There you go. And just middle mouse button it. Let's save this. So a section curve is basically the 2D line work that we want to bring through into the drawing. And the reference set is like a big layer. So we've got the 3D solid on the reference set. We've now got this 2D line on the reference set. What that means though is in the drawing, this 2D line work will appear in all views where we're taking a section through it at this location. And we may only want it to appear in certain locations. So I think what I want to do is I'm going to put this section curve on a different layer to the solid, so I can choose to turn this on or off in different views. But to start with, I'm going to go back down to this location and make this the current feature. If I went into the drawing now, everything under the section curves wouldn't be visible, so we'd only be seeing the disc without the slots in. So we need to go and make the bottom feature the active feature, so everything in this model is active. It's quite a big model now, so it's getting a bit slow. You can see here now, I can see the section curves. Just press F8 to line that up. So you can see the difference between the background information here, the background line, and the line where you'd need to machine it. So this would be where you need to machine it before you put the slots in. So when this gets turned, you turn it to this shape. So this is the shape we need to highlight and define. Right, the other thing is there's some points on here as well, which define how we originally modelled this. We probably need to put them points on the same reference set as well, and probably on their own layer. So let's go move to layer. Let's select section curves. Okay, and let's put them on layer 20 for now. Let's just open this up. If you look here, layer, so the solid's on layer 1, the section curve is now on layer 20. Right, so let's just I think I'm going to hide this section curve for now. And what I want to do is I'm going to show this one. Right, so I've got points here, one here, 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 and here. Now, what you're better off to do is to bring these points into the drawing view. You don't want to be recreating these points in the drawing view and them not be associative. So these points are driving this sketch. So we want to bring these points through into the actual drawing itself, because then you can't go wrong when you're dating them up. So let's go Format, Reference Sets, Model, and let's pick points, point, that one, that one, that one, that one. And also these points are on this sketch layer, which is layer 1. So I think probably the best thing to do is put this sketch on a different layer as well, so we can turn it on or off. The sketch won't appear because the whole sketch isn't on the model reference set. It's only these points that are on the model reference set. We'll just double check that again. Format, Reference Sets, Model. There we go, they're all highlighted in orange, so that's okay. Let's move this sketch to a different layer. Move to Layer, pick this sketch. I'm going to put this on layer 30, I think. So if you look now, we've got layer 30, section curves layer 20, and the solids on layer 1. Let's just, for now, let's just hide that. And I'm going to unsection it. And I'm going to save it. This is quite a complicated view to do, so you probably have a few other locations like this which are quite difficult. Let's go back to the drawing, so this drawing. Right, if you see now, these are out of date, and if you look, some of these points have actually appeared, which is what we want to see. Let's just update the drawing by clicking on the clock on the drawing itself. And if you look now, we've got lines on top of lines, yeah? Lines on top of lines here. Right, so I think I put this on layer 20, so visible in view. Let's click on this view, and let's, for now, let's make layer 20 invisible. So this is the original line work, and what I want now, I don't want lines overlapping lines here, so I need to get rid of these original lines and put my lines in instead. If I've got lines overlapping lines, when you come to section it, it probably won't section very well. Right, so if I right click here, view dependent edit, and we've got here, we've got erase objects. So now I need to select the curves that I don't want to see. Okay, there's something here still. Right, so I've now in effect view dependent edited these lines out. I can bring them back if ever I need them, but at the minute I don't need them. So let's turn layer 20 back on. So layer visible in view, click this view, layer 20. So now I've not got anything overlapping. So that's actually the view I want. Right, so because I've turned the background off, the lines across here are actually missing. So I think it's easier to draw these lines in because I've not got that many holes, rather than to view dependent edit all the other lines out. So I think this is going to be my preferred method. So let's go up here and type in a line. Right, so there's different ways of doing this. I think I normally prefer to go into into this view and draw them in inside the view. If you hit associative, it should update anyway and go with the view, but normally I prefer to go inside the view. So let's go expand. So now I can go inside the view itself. I want to put some lines in. So let's go line. No, that's not that one. That one maybe. From there to there. Let's just see what's in here. Associative, yeah, apply. From here to here. Associative is on, apply. Here to here. It's a case of just putting these lines in. I think because I'm putting them in the expanded view, even if associative was off, I think it still would go with it, but let's make sure it's on anyway. That's what the ones we've got there. I'll expand it. Right, so the lines are in. Let's try moving it and see what happens. There we go. So the lines are going with the view, which is what we're after. Right, so this was the hard bit. Let's try and hatch it now. When we try and hatch this bit, it could play up a bit because it's a composite section. But let's start with the easy bits. So I've gone here, cross hatch, pointing region. So we just click a point here, for example, apply. There we go. Apply. Apply. There we go. That's not bad. Right, so that's the hard bit of this view. Now we can put some of the dimensions on. We could go into it in lots of detail, put the blow-ups on. Let's just put a few in to start with. Let's put some blow-up detail in. So, detail view. Looks like there's a detail view around here somewhere. So let's click on here somewhere. And it finishes at the top. There somewhere. That's one. Right, so the text is slightly different here, and it's probably the same on sheet 1. So, yeah. Same on sheet 1. I'll show you how to change that. So there should have been an arrow in here on theirs. There's an arrow coming down. Let's try and put that in on this. Right, let's double click the view. So we've got here label, and it's got note, display note. What we want here is this one, I think. Yeah, so it's put the line in now. There we go. Right, there's a blow up here. Let's put that one in. You can change this in the format of the drawing border. Obviously, this one's slightly different. Let's go for this one. Let's place that down there somewhere. So sometimes you might want to move this. It might be you need to go this way a bit or make it a bit bigger. Let's just double click this. Nope, let's go right click on it, go boundary. Right, so we've got an anchor point here, so we can click the anchor point and we can move the boundary to where we want. Let's just try and get the radius in or something, or we can go bigger or smaller with the arc. So yeah, so we can tweak it around a fraction. Right, there's another one on here. Right, so I'm going to purposely stop this one in the wrong place. So I'm going to stop it there. Place it here somewhere. Right, so there is a way of moving this around to match where theirs is. Theirs is coming off here. Mine's coming off here somewhere. Let's see if I can remember how we do it. Yeah, right, so it's the shift key. So if I hold this arrow and hold the shift key, I can then move it around the circle. So yeah, let's stop it there somewhere. So it now matches roughly where this one comes off if you needed to match that. And then we've got a blow up at the bottom somewhere. Let's just copy that. So here somewhere. And it stops at the top. It's actually defaulted to label now. Place it there for now. That's something like. Right, so I think they're on different sheets actually. Right, so we'll keep this one on this sheet, I think. No, we won't. We'll keep this one. Let's move these ones to the next sheet. So let's move them to sheet 3. So if I highlight this one here, it's this one. Drag it to sheet 3. Highlight this one, it's this one. Drag it to sheet 3. This one is this one. Drag it to sheet 3. Right, so I've got that one. And it looks like there's a blow up of the top at this location. Right. So let's do the blow up at the top. I don't think it's a circle, let's do a square this time. Let's go blow up. Rectangle. Right. It's probably a bit big. Yep, that'll do for now. Right, let's try and put in some of these diameters and things and dimensions that we've got on this view here to start with. Now we've created a few views on here. Right, so here I don't want to see this one. On there is you can't see this circle, this SP, which is what this one is here. So let's go border or boundary. What we got here? Let's try the top one. There we go. That's now disappeared, which is what we're after. Right, so I think it's quite straightforward putting some of the dimensions on. We can go on to rapid. What we've got there, 80.1. So if I click on this, so it's going from this point here to that point there, and it's the 80.1. There's a tolerance on it. minus. That's as per this. Oh, we've got size on here. And what they've done, they've just changed the text here. So it's the orientation, it's probably that one. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what they've done there. That's 14.8. Right. So here we've only got half the part, but we've got some diameters we need to put on. Let's just put one or two other dimensions on first because they're quite easy. Let's go on in third, from there to there. 48, and it wants to be box dimension. Right. So I think putting some of these sizes in is quite easy. You just need to make sure that you're clicking on the right point, this point here and this point here, and then the system will put little gaps in. So when you print it, this will look pretty good. What you don't want is to snap onto a point up here somewhere where it's difficult to see where the dimension starts and where the model finishes, as it were. So just need to be a bit careful with that. Right, let's try and put in some of these diameters when we've only got half the part. So there's a few different ways of doing this. Let's just go forward a bit on this so I can see a bit better. You might want to add this expand member view to your toolbar. This is quite handy. In this NX11 version, sometimes you can't expand by right clicking. They've removed it in certain locations, so it's wise to add this toolbar. Right, so let's try an easy way first. If I expand this, expand, we'll see what we've got here. Right, so in this location we've only actually got half a part. We've not got the other side of the part, so it's probably best to put a center line in. So let's go, so we're in the expanded view. Let's go 3D center line. Let's click on this diameter. Right, so now we've got a 3D center line. If I'd clicked on here and it didn't do this 3D center line, what I could do is draw a line 0, 0, 0 across this way and use that as my center line instead. But it's done it straight away what I wanted. So I've got my 3D center line. I'm in the expanded view. Let's go rapid dimension, see what's in here. So let's go cylindrical. Let's try picking the center line. When expanding, let's see if it'll give us the right figure. So if we look here, we've got diameter 227 and it's 227 here. So that is the correct diameter using this cylindrical tool. What we want to do now is want to hide the other end of this line, which is what it looks like they've done here, and turn it into a box dimension. So let's just double click it. Box dimension. Right, I think it's on this A. So we've got in here tolerance. I think it matters where, let's just cancel that. I think it matters where you click onto this. I don't want to click here, I think I want to click onto here. Let's right click here and go settings. I think we've got more, there we go. So we've got more settings now. So it matters where you click on this dimension. So we've got line arrow. So we've got arrowhead, line arrow, and it's got here apply to entire dimension. So it's a case of turning them off and on and making sure you get the right side. So let's try extension line. Let's click that. There we go. So it's now got rid of that bit. that's now give us what we want. That sort of matches what they've got here. There is a way of putting multiple dimensions in, multiple diameters in, all in one go, which will save a bit of time because it takes quite a while doing this. So I'd normally put all these diameters all in at the same time. It saves you a bit of hassle. Right, so there's a particular way of doing that. Right, so let's expand this again. So go to the expanded view, expand. Right, so now we want to pick linear. So it's a linear dimension. Make sure you set here cylindrical. And when you set a cylindrical here under linear dimension, you get this method appear, use baseline. So you need to click this, use baseline. Then you can click on the center line. Then you can unexpand it. And now I can type in all the diameters all in one go. We've got one here. What else we got on here? There's one here somewhere. There's probably not that many diameters on here, but you get the idea. You can put all these diameters in all at the same time. Let's just check to make sure these ones we've got are correct. 60992, that's okay. 50792, that's okay. 34624, that's okay. Yeah, so if we wanted to take the other end of these off, you can select them all at the same time. All the new ones. Let's go right click, settings, and then you've got here. Ooh. That's the right one. There we go. So now it's given us the diameters that we're after. And you can put all them all in one go using that method. It's a lot faster. I think that's probably enough on there. Let's just put one of the radiuses in or something. There we go. 7.5. Right. Right, we've got this view here. This one's quite complicated as well because it's got datum A and things are dimensioned to datum A, but datum A is not actually here, it's over here somewhere. So NX will give you the right figure if I dimension from here to here. And I could hide this end of the line, but it won't look quite the same as this, and I'll show you why. It'll give you the right dimension, so we've got to say from this center point, from that point there to this line here. Let's try that. From this point here to this line here. That should give us the right figure. So it's this one here, 65.417, 65.417. So it is giving us the right figure. So what I could do is turn this end of the line off and put it here to datum A or something. But that's not the way they've dimensioned it here. So I'm going to try and copy what they've done here and keep it fully parametric so it updates properly. Let's get rid of that. Right, so we know if we dimension to this line to here, it's giving us the right figures. So what I would probably do is, let's create a view, detail view, probably here somewhere. Right, let's place it there somewhere. Right, so we've got in effect a piece of that line. A piece of that line there, which is datum A face. Let's see what we got here. Boundary. Let's go none. So now it's disappeared from here. Let's double click the border. See what else we got. show view label. This one, tick that one. Show view scale, and tick that one. Okay, now that's disappeared. Right, so now we've just got this line and this circle. Now, the actual border won't be printed when we print it, so that's not a problem. But we can see here, this green line will be printed. And again, that's not what's on this PDF. So on this PDF, there's just this line here. So we need to hide this green line here. So what we'll do is we'll put that on a layer that we can hide. So let's expand this view. Right, so it's not allowing us to expand it, so we'll convert it to an independent detail view. Now I'm going to expand it. Expand. Right, so now I can see this line coming round here. Move to layer. Let's click on that. Let's say 50. Right, now let's unexpand it. And I'm going to go layer visible in view, click in here and turn off layer 50. And if you look now, the green line's gone. I'm just seeing the border, or the viewport as it were. So now this won't print. I'll just see this line. So that's what I think someone's done here. Let's go back. What we got? So there's a few dimensions from here to this line. Let's see if that works out. Right, dimension. If we go from that middle one to that line, and let's go, yeah, that's okay. Let's put a box dimension on it. So that's that one. From there to there. There. Right, let's just check a few of these. Move up a fraction. Yep, they all match. They all match what's on here. I could move them up a fraction more. Let's just put some radiuses on here to see if they match as well. Yep, looks like they do. 1500, 325. Right, so I need to put some diameters on here. And that's done a similar way, or can be done a similar way. So let's see what we've got inside this view. Let's expand it. Right, so it's not letting me expand it. Let's convert it. Now we'll expand it. Right, so I've got my centre line, so I can do the same thing. So I can go linear dimension, set this to cylindrical, use baseline, click on this, unexpand it. And now it's got rid of some of these. I'd have to reassociate some of these dimensions. Let's click on that point there. Point. That edge there. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, so I can use the same trick here for putting these dimensions in. All these diameters. and I need to put datum A on that face. So let's put datum A. If I move this view as well, these dimensions won't move relative to this. So I can move this over here a bit, yeah, or a bit further, or I can move this view. And again, it doesn't affect the dimensions. The dimensions are all associative properly. Right, so we need to put on here datum. So let's go on here. So this is datum A. So basically we put datum A on there somewhere. Right. It's also a reference, so it's got reference lines around it. Right, so I think what we'll do is we'll put a note in. Let's go on symbols. I think I prefer these NX brackets because the NX brackets are more curly than the ones where you press shift and 9 and 0. I think these ones look better. Yeah. So let's go that way and that way. So it's going to be somewhere around that size. Oh, maybe one more in the middle. So we could put that around it. Right, so let's place that down to start with. Right, what you really want is if you move this A this way or this way, you want this bracket to go with the A. So let's double click that again. So it's got here, location, origin tool. Let's pick XY, hit the associative, pick middle center. I think that wants to probably be 0 and 0. Let's try that. Close. Let's just take one out. We'll put one in. It's not quite in the middle there. Let's try X1. That's better. That's better. Right, so that should be associative now to this A, no matter what we do. Yeah. So we'll move this up here somewhere. There you go. So these brackets are always moving with this A now. That's what you want, really. Let's just get rid of them. We could put them in again. For some reason, when I turn that into independent view, they've become unassociative. So you can double click them and reassociate, but it's probably easier just to put them back in again. There we go. So that's how we would do that view. Let's just turn off these lines just to tidy it up a bit. Just highlight these ones. Settings. Let's go. Alt and 1. No. There we go. Oh, that's better. Well, I've got this view to look at. Again, these diameters can be put in the same way as what I've shown here and what I've shown here, and this datum A can be put in the same way as I've shown here. So I don't think there's much on that view that we haven't already done. There's some reference dimensions at the end of the tips. So that just proves what we're putting there is correct. Let's double click that. Oh, we've got a reference. There we go. So reference dimension. What else we got? What I could actually do here is I've got a line coming through here. It looks like someone's actually drawn that line in this view. It's probably not the best way of doing that. we have actually got a line across here that we use to model this. So I think what I would do is bring that line into this view and dimension it in this view, because then you can't go wrong. We've even got points here, across here, we can bring into this view as well, similar to what we've already done. Let's try and do that now. Let's just let's save this first. Right, let's go back to the model. This model. Right, so I think it was on. So it's on here somewhere. Let's show that. Let's put these points on. Let's hide that. Right, so let's put these points on, and then we'll put a line through the points. We probably could do with that one and that one. I don't think we necessarily need these in the middle. Let's try that. Let's put them all on, it won't hurt. And this sketch is on like 30. Let's go back to the drawing. There you go, there's the points. So what we can do now, let's put a 2D center line here. There you go. So you need this one on this control point on. So if we pick that control point there, there, and there, there you go, that's better. So that line there is that line there. Let's just try and put a dimension on there to make sure that's correct. So from there to there, there you go. Oh. Let's try that again. So that's the control point at that diameter. So it should be 0.582, which is the same as this, 0.582. Let's just try, yeah. From there to there, 4.5, yeah, that's correct. Okay, so I think that's good enough for that view. Just a few bits we put in. What else we got? So I think that sheet's probably okay. Let's have a look at this one. Right, again, this should be quite straightforward, just a case of dimensioning it up. Some sort of radius in here. So it's got from there to there, from there to there. I tend to put most of the diameters and things in first and then move them around and tidy them up after the fact. Again, some of these diameters we can put in the same way as we already have. It's pretty straightforward. There's actually a profile tolerance along here because all these are box dimensions, but for now it doesn't really matter. It's just proving the fact that we've modelled it correctly. Yeah, let's put another radius in there, or 3. And let's put the dimension in across there. So from datum face A to there. And all these are, they seem to be matching up okay. Right, what else we got? Again, this is pretty straightforward. I think we've pretty much done most things that are in this view. Let's just put one dimension across it. There you go. Yeah, I don't like dimensions inside the drawing view. You're better off taking them outside the drawing view if you can, but try and keep the leader lines short at the same time. It's quite difficult with this particular dimension, which is probably why someone's put it over here somewhere. Right, I think these views are quite simple, reasonably straightforward to put these in. This one's more complicated. I think we ought to have a go at doing this, doing some of the dimensions on this view and on this view. These are a bit more complicated, so I think we need this view to start with, and I think this is a view looking down here on sheet 1. So let's try and put that view in first. Let's go on to sheet 1. We want a view looking down on top. If you can see, look, this layer is visible now, so these points and things are appearing. So in these sort of views, we've got it here and here, and we've got it here as well. So we can turn them layers off now that these sketches and things are on. It makes their life a lot easier, and all this then should disappear. So let's go layer visible in view. Let's click on this one. I think it was 20 and 30. 20, 30. If you look, that's disappeared. That's disappeared. We've got this one here. So layer visible in view. Again, it'll be 20 and 30. 20, 30. Again, that's gone. That's why we need to put things on different layers. Right, we need a projected view looking down on top of this. So let's pick the view first, so it knows which way around we're going. Projected view. Just there. You have to be a bit careful with NX on projected views. A lot of CAD systems, if you move the main view around the center line of the view, it will regenerate this view and give you the right view. However, NX doesn't do that. So if I move this view down here and place it there, the view doesn't change. So this isn't a view looking there, this is a view looking down on top. So you have to be a bit wary of this when you're doing drawings. Don't move them the opposite side, otherwise you can get the component made the wrong way around or handed incorrectly. Yeah, just a thing to be aware of. Right, so we want to move this probably to sheet 4, so it's this view. So it's this one. This is the view we're trying to create. And there's at scale 1 to 1. We'll just copy. Okay, so on this view, we're only seeing a small portion of this. We're not seeing all of this. Let's just change the view boundary. Right, so that's something like that. Actually, they're showing where data may goes in. Let's make that a little bit bigger. There you go. So that's data may face. Right, so we need to know where the point is along here to put the work, where the work plane is. So when we section it, we know we're in the right position. So I think the best thing is to put a disk center point in the model and bring that through into the drawing itself. Right, so let's go back to the model. And let's show some of the planes. Right, so yeah. So that axis, we know we're on that axis when we put the point in. Let's show that. Right, so the point wants to be there, in line with that and in line with that. So let's do a sketch on this plane and put a point in. So sketch on that plane, and let's put a point in. So it's point on that line, and point is actually on that plane. There we go. So now that's in the right place. That's actually my disk center point coming through that. So now I need to put that point on the right model reference set. So let's go finish sketch. Let's move it to a layer. Let's put it on layer 70. And let's go format reference sets, model. Let's pick that point. Yep, that's it. Let's just hide a couple of bits. Right, file, save that. Back to this drawing. There we go. That's our point. Let's just update the drawing. Right, so we've got the disk center point, which is that point there now. Again, it's better to use what's in the model, I think. Right, let's go for section line. Click on the point. Vector defined. At angle to AC. I think we actually modelled this at 27. It probably should have been 28. So I think let's copy what we modelled it at 27. Let's go OK to that. Right, so that is actually the right angle. So that will be 90 degrees. Right, so the arrows go the right way. So let's flip the arrows. So that's the slot we're after, the one at the top left centre. So I think for now we would go boundary, manual, let's delete all these centre lines. Let's just move these in a bit. So let's double click this. Right, so let's make, just double check the position at that point. Yeah, this is correct. That's that line. So it looks like it's that line and that line. Yeah, yes. So that's the 40.8. Let's make this view a bit bigger. Right. Let's expand this view. Let's put a spline in here. You have to be careful with this degree. If it's too high, the spline will go a bit all over the place. So we want probably a low degree. I want to draw a spline in here somewhere. Apply, cancel. And basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn this into my view boundary. So it's similar to what they've got on here. This thing coming round. Right, so this is going to be my view boundary. I want to show this, but I don't want to show this. So let's turn this line type into phantom. And I need to put this on a layer to hide in this view. So move to layout. Let's pick 70. Right, let's unexpand this. Right, so let's right click on this, boundary, break line detail, let's select around the shape. Apply. I've now got this as my new boundary, and now I need to hide these green lines here and keep this line going around there. So let's go layer visible in view, click on here, type in 70. And if you look, that's now greyed out. So when you print this, you'll only get this bottom one, you won't get this top one as well. And that's the slot. So again, here we could put these dimensions, these points on the right reference set and bring them in. That's probably the easiest way, best way of doing that. So let's update the drawing to start with. Let's edit that. I didn't actually put points on the end of here, so I suppose for now we could put the points in there, 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 and there. Finish sketch. Right, yeah, now I can see the points. Let's hide the revolve. Right, so now I've got the points here. Let's go Format, Reference Sets, Model. Let's select the points. Then we've got this sketch. Again, we can move that to a layer where we can turn it on or off. So the minute is on layer 1, so I think we need to move that to something else. Move to layer. Right. Let's hide that. So we'll save this and go back to the drawing, and then we should be able to see the points that we need. Right, so here they are, look. Here the points have appeared. Right, so let's put a line in. by points, point to point, apply, point to point, apply. Yep, okay. Let's try doing it that way instead. So I need a centre line in there. Let's expand it. I've still got my centre line, which is there. That's probably okay. Right, so now we can put in some of the dimensions and things that are shown in this drawing. We probably need to use perpendicular. So from here to here. Yeah. That dimension doesn't actually exist. It goes from there to there. There, 17.8. Let's just make that a bit smaller. Right, so 17.8. Let's get rid of the 8.9. Let's put a few more dimensions in. I think we need to be on perpendicular still. Let's go from there to there. 11.5 to there. 2.319. But yeah, I mean, this proves, I think, that we've got the right dimensions. Let's try 1 or 2 dimensions in the other direction. from there to there. Right. Got some angles. So from there to there. There's a height from there to there. Some radiuses. Let's just update the drawing. Right, so I think we've recreated this drawing. I think we've put most of the views in, most of the dimensions match that we can see, and we put most of the features and things in. So yeah, hopefully you'll have learned something from that anyway. Sometimes it can be quite difficult to do features like this or putting these diameters in if you've not done it before. So thank you very much guys for watching my video.